Okay, let's just jump right in. Ask yourself this. Who's really steering the ship? I mean, who controls your future? Is it the governments you see on TV making all the noise?
Or, and this is the big question, are there these massive corporations kind of behind the curtain actually shaping things on a global scale?
Exactly. And you hear a lot about BRICS, right? Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, challenging the US dollar, making headlines.
Yeah, that's definitely a big story. But there's this other player, much quieter maybe, shaping the whole system from the shadows. And well, it's not even a country.
It's an asset manager. That's the key thing here. And that's what this deep dive is really about, what we're calling the war between BRICS and BlackRock.
And it's a conflict that nobody's really telling you what it truly means, the deeper implications.
Right. So before we get deeper into this whole financial power dynamic, maybe take a quick second, hit that subscribe button for Trend Media.
Yeah, because we're trying to go beyond just the headlines here. We want to help you decode the bigger game being played around you.
It affects your money, your freedom, even your digital identity in ways you might not expect.
So subscribe now and let's pull back that curtain together.
Okay, so this major player we mentioned, BlackRock. Let's start there. The sheer size is kind of hard to grasp.
It really is. They control over $10 trillion in global assets.
10 trillion. Just let that sink in. Can you give us some perspective on that number?
We'll put it this way.
Hmm.
That's more than the GDP of Germany and Japan combined.
Oh, wow.
And the crucial part is they don't just, manage stocks or bonds. Their influence, it spreads out into so many critical areas.
Right. They're not just advising governments. Sometimes they're practically embedded. Yeah.
Plugged into almost every major Western economy.
Absolutely. They sit, in a way, on top of governments, advising pension funds, which affects policy. They're tied in with big tech companies. They hold massive infrastructure contracts.
You mean like roads?
Yeah.
Energy grids? Exactly. The essential stuff. And they're even involved with the AI that models global economies. That gives them a unique insight, right, into how things might play out.
And it doesn't stop there. They own shares in huge companies everyone knows.
Oh, yeah. Think Pfizer, Google, Apple, Microsoft, even some of the biggest defense contractors, energy giants.
So when you list it out like that, it really doesn't sound like just a company anymore.
No. The reach is so pervasive, it starts to function almost like a shadow state, influencing things everywhere.
Okay, so that sets the stage for one side. But then you have BRICS making all this noise about changing the system.
Right. And their story, on the surface at least, is pretty clear. Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, they want out from under, U.S. financial control.
Their whole narrative is built around things like de-dollarization.
Exactly. De-dollarization, pushing for maybe a commodity-backed currency, talking a lot about national sovereignty, economic freedom from, say, IMF rules or Wall Street agendas.
They even set up their own bank, right? The New
Yeah.
Development Bank.
They did, as a sort of alternative. So it looks like a clear fight, doesn't it?
It seems like it, but, and this is where it gets messy, I guess, if BlackRock is as deeply woven into everything, as we just discussed, can countries, even a group like BRICS, ever really break free? If the real control sits somewhere else, maybe above the level of national governments?
That is the million-dollar question, isn't it? Or maybe the $10 trillion question. Yeah. And here's the twist most people miss.
Go on.
BlackRock. They're invested in the BRICS nations, too.
Wait, really? So it's not just a West versus East thing?
Not entirely, no. That's the complexity. Yes, they're huge in the U.S. and Europe. They run policy modeling with AI there.
Yep.
But they also have, equity stakes, climate-related contracts, big tech interests inside BRICS countries.
Like where specifically?
Well, think about Chinese banking platforms, major projects scaling up India's energy sector, even funds involved with Brazilian commodities. BlackRock's got fingers in those pies, too.
Okay, so that completely changes the picture.
It really does.
Yeah.
So you have to step back and ask, right? Is this really BRICS versus BlackRock fighting for control?
Or is it maybe more like BlackRock versus you, the individual, regardless of which flag seems to be winning on the surface?
That's the uncomfortable possibility, yeah.
Let's try and connect this to maybe a broader structure. We sometimes talk about this GMV model. Governments, media, venture capital.
Right, the kind of three arms of modern power structures.
And guess who has significant influence in all three of those?
It comes back to BlackRock again, doesn't it?
Yeah.
They're involved across the board.
And not just by investing. They actually help write the rules, like with ESG policy.
Exactly. Environmental, social governance. They help define what good corporate behavior looks like globally. And this isn't just, let's invest green.
It's more directive than that.
Oh, yeah. Their ESG frameworks can push companies on everything from carbon emissions to supply chains. And if you don't score well...
your access to capital gets hit.
Precisely. They fund companies that comply and effectively punish those that don't, just through the power of their investments.
And now they're weaving AI and climate stuff into credit scores, too, for companies and maybe even bigger financial packages?
Yes, integrating things like climate risk into investment portfolios, central bank considerations, judging creditworthiness partly on environmental factors.
Which sounds a lot like a financial version of social credit.
It has echoes of that, definitely. But the scary part is, it doesn't need a government law to pass. It happens through financial leverage, almost invisibly.
So BRICS says they want a firewall against that kind of external control.
They do. They talk about sovereignty.
But again, tracing who owns what, who's really connected to whom behind the scenes when you're dealing with these massive global entities, it's incredibly difficult.
Like trying to map smoke.
Yeah.
Very, very hard to get a clear picture.
Which brings us back to the core dilemma for you listening to this. Is this whole thing, the shift we're seeing, a genuine rebellion against the old system? A real push for a different kind of global wealth distribution?
Or is the game kind of rigged already from a level deeper than nations and flags?
Think about the infrastructure of it all. Who's mining all the data? Financial data, consumer data, everything.
BlackRock's heavily involved there.
Who's funding the super fast AI that basically runs modern market operations?
BlackRock, again, a major player.
Who owns the digital plumbing, the language banks, the data centers processing all this global information?
You see the pattern. Their influence is in the infrastructure itself.
So does it even matter in the end if the world uses the dollar or the yuan or some new crypto coin?
If the fundamental pipes, the systems that move and process value and information, all route through the same few, very powerful controllers,
then this whole idea of national sovereignty, it starts to look a bit like theater, like a stage act.
Yeah. It's a provocative thought, but one worth considering.
Which means this whole conversation, it isn't really about picking a side in the old way, is it? It's not about left versus right, or this border versus that border, or backing one nation against another.
No, it's about something bigger. It's about waking up to maybe the real empire, the one that operates beyond those traditional lines.
It's like corporate power wearing government gloves, operating at a level that shapes our world in ways most of us don't even see day to day.
That's a good way to put it.
So if you believe the world deserves, maybe not better, but at least the truth about how power really works,
then hit that subscribe button for Trend Media now.
Think about it. They are watching your behavior online, your transactions, everything.
Maybe it's time you start watching their moves much more closely.
Let's try and shift that balance of power even just a little. One deep dive at a time. Subscribe now.